All right, welcome to episode 5 of Doujin Drops. I am Jay.
And I'm T.
And yeah, we're back with another episode. I guess this one is going to be more of a free talk since we didn't really make a script.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what have you been up to, man?
Dude, lately I just been a hikikomori for a while, so I may sound like a Chad, but I just been working out. Just kind of like non-stop. You know, that's good for you and all that, but at the same time, you know, this is all I can do.
No, I'm actually the opposite. I just got a new job. It kind of sucks because it's construction and it's one of those really brutal fucking schedules. And I've just been physically tired. I don't know if the listeners are gonna be able to tell it through my voice.
No, I think they can tell. You even showed me a song. You're like, hey T, listen to this Ozzy Osbourne song called "Under the Graveyard." Listen to the first verse. I'm like, okay, listen to it, and it's all like, I woke up, I hate myself, and I'm all like,
that's me.
Oh,
that's me every morning. It's just I've been unemployed for a while, thanks to the pandemic that's been going on, and I know there's actually still people out there struggling with that. But I finally got a job. It's not really one that I wanted, but it's something. I mean, you and I both know. I mean, we both live in a small town, and you know, jobs are hard to come by out here. I mean, I know you're struggling, and shit, you're more overqualified than me, and I'm actually surprised you don't really get calls left and right.
Well, I kind of been in a way chilling, I guess. You could say this is like my vacation because my last job I saved up enough money to like kind of live kind of comfortably for a few months. So I have that. And yeah, like I've been so comfortable that like I literally bought all my PC parts to build my PC, and the only thing I'm waiting for is that graphics card. That's all I'm waiting for. That graphics card. Then I can finally play Minecraft in 1440p. Oh no, I'm joking. I didn't buy the PC just for that.
Oh man, I'm actually kind of not really jealous, more like kind of angry. Well, yeah, I guess jealous. Yeah, let's call it that. I'm kind of jealous of just how quickly you were able to get your PC parts. It did take me a good 3 years of hoarding parts, and literally the only thing I'm missing is also the graphics cards, because I decided to wait for the new generation to come out. I just didn't know we were gonna have a shortage this bad. Like, you know, again,
I don't think anyone like thought the pandemic would do this. You know, you have the ammo shortage, you have, you know, social unrest, you have the graphics card shortage, and you know, the scalpers, you know, all of that. You know, and
yeah, I mean, I guess that's really the only plus of living in a small town is we're not exposed to most of the bad stuff. It's just that things are hard to come by out here. We gotta order most of the good shit online. I know when it came to the graphics shortage, I believe it's because everyone started working from home, so everybody just had to buy a new PC. You know, it's not even just GPUs; it's semiconductors, from what I believe. So it's laptops, TVs, all of that, because everyone's working from home. And I believe the reason why the very first graphics card shortage happened was because of crypto miners. Back when
with Bitcoin?
Yeah, back when Bitcoin hit like, I want to say it went over 10K, and it started going up. I think it hit as high as 19,000 before it crashed, and the reason it crashed was because China banned Bitcoin, or somewhere along the lines of that. But during that period, there was no graphics cards, and yeah, so it was really crypto miners that that caused the first graphics card shortage. And now, as of this recording, Bitcoin is over $20,000. It passed its all-time high. I'm gonna have to fact check and see how much it is right now. Let's see. As of recording, it's $49,000.
Ooh, damn! It went up.
Bitcoin miners are going ham right now. They're having a field. They're just trying to get as much GPUs as they can.
they're like Hans the German guy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like this GPU shortage is going to be even worse. Not just because of the pandemic. It's because of these crypto miners, man. I mean, Bitcoin is so valuable. At this point, it's worth more than gold.
Well, you could say this, Jay, is that like, sure, finding parts for PC, right? Like now you kind of like, it's kind of like slightly harder to build a decent PC under $1,000. I mean, you can do it. Sure, you can still do it, but it's just that like now things are like more pricier, so like you can still kind of reach that $1,000 mark, but like you still gotta be going over a little bit. And, there are people out there that can build PCs like with such efficiency that they can build it like underneath like 500 or even 700, right? But like us, we can't do that, and online they're just kind of price gouging everything. But so far what I've seen, the only things that I've seen that like jumped up in price is graphics cards, of course, right, and CPUs. Other than that, though, all the other parts like RAM, hard drive, solid state drives, and freaking motherboards and all that, and cases, they kind of just still stayed the same, like same price, but they kind of like just still didn't increase. They're kind of like good. They're kind of Gucci. Well, the CPUs and graphics card, they went to the moon. They just flew to the moon, like woo.
Well, yeah,
like freaking Frank Sinatra, fly me to the moon. Just woo.
I honestly just feel like crypto miners caused the first GPU shortage, so I'm pretty sure they caused the second one. And because of the pandemic, it just made it worse. Because of the global semiconductor shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so impossible to find one. I mean, I'm just glad there are sites out there that let you pre-order. Well, not really pre-order, more like reserve a spot in line to get one. Instead of just using like Best Buy or Walmart or Amazon, where they just notify you when they're available. And I kind of hate that, because let's say you're at work and then you get that notification and then you see it around lunchtime. So by the time you get it, they're probably all sold out. I mean, I'm pretty sure
by the time you get out of work,
I'm pretty sure by the time you even get that notification, all the bot scalpers already fucking picked them up.
Dude, it's just like the Fallout 4 Collector's Edition. Remember the Pip-Boy Edition? Remember how they announced it? I think it was at, what was it? E3? E3 or... Fuck was it? What was it called?
I'm actually not too sure when they announced it, but...
Anyways, they announced it at a video game like awards type of thing, right? And I was all like, holy shit, they announced it. And you were like, oh dude, they announced it. And pre-orders were up at GameStop and other online retailers, but by the time you checked, just a few hours after that reveal, bam, gone, nothing, nada, zilch, done.
Well, I mean, this one was actually worse, because most people on YouTube that I've seen mentioned that when these graphics cards went live, like, the countdown was going on, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As soon as it hit 0 and it went live, they were just automatically sold out. Like, you just got greeted by a sold out screen, because all these bot scalpers fucking bought them all up. I think that's even worse, because with the Fallout 4 Collector's Edition with the Pip-Boy and that that fucking canvas bag that they promised, but it was actually nylon.
Yeah.
That was just sold out in like a day. But this one was even worse. This one didn't even give you the option to buy. It just went straight to fucking sold out.
Dude, at least the Pip-Boy was nice though. Like the Pip-Boy itself, it was nice. It's just like another collector's edition that like kind of sold out quickly, but it was actually really nice. Was the I think it was a Black Ops 3 or 4 like collector's edition that came with the little Juggernaut fridge. You don't understand.
I think
that sold out quickly.
I think I know what you're talking about. No, I think my favorite collector's edition would have to be... Ooh, man. Actually, nah, I'm going to have a minute to think about this, because I'm actually a big fan of collector's editions. I think, I honestly, hold up. I got to think to see which one would be my favorite. What about yours? Which one would yours be?
To be honest, my favorite one was the Skyrim Collector's Edition, but when that came out in 2011, I did not have, I didn't have a job, and we were all still in high school at the time, so I had to get, my parents to buy it for me, buy a copy of Skyrim for me. And the thing is, when Skyrim came out, I still did not have an Xbox 360, or the next gen. I still had the original Xbox. So it was like maybe a year and a half later after Skyrim release, I finally got a 360 and I started playing all the games I could not play, like Oblivion, Skyrim, Fable 2, Left 4 Dead, BioShock, everything you can think of, you know. And that collector's edition of Skyrim, it was really nice. You had the little Alduin statue. You had the little giant art book, and the a map and everything like that. Basically, whenever you get a collector's edition of a certain game, figurines of collector's editions for video games, they kind of suck dick. And, they don't have that much craftsmanship in it. But this Skyrim one, it was an example. It was an exception. I loved it. But couldn't get it.
I remember I got I believe it was the Halo 5 Guardians when they introduced the Spartan Lock. Yeah, they had a collector's edition and it came with a figurine of Master Chief and Spartan Lock. I actually still have that.
So, wasn't that big as hell though?
Oh yes, it was big. It took a lot of space, but one of the things I like about it is I don't know what material they used, but I like. Okay, my room's very dusty because it has a lot of wood, and I have to clean my figurines like at least once every 2 weeks. But I actually keep forgetting to clean that one because every time I look at it, it looks clean. Like you can't see the dust. But when you run your finger through it, it's like dusty as hell. And every time I keep telling myself, I'll clean this one day because it's just so big. And I actually have like a lot of figurines. Maybe one day when we take this podcast to video format, I could start like showing them off. But
you should probably take them out the box too. By the way, viewers, Jay is a very lazy individual, so he basically Toy Story 2's his freaking like his figurines. And what I mean by that is that remember in Toy Story 2 when there was that dude who kept all his
Prospector. Not the Prospector. It was that guy that was collecting all the Woody merchandise.
Yeah. But the Prospector and I think the Jess, were all, or Jesse or Jess, I'm not too sure. They were all kept in the boxes. Then they would not come out. Now, that worked in Jay's favor because, since he's lazy and he doesn't want to dust his figurines, the only thing he has to dust is the box itself, and it protects the actual figurine itself.
Well, see, the thing is, after like I used to like open all my figurines and then display them, but then I realized, man, I am getting tired of dusting these figurines, like cleaning the dust off these figurines because I have a lot. So every time I keep buying new ones, and they'll come in, one day I just decided, you know what? If I keep them inside the box and don't open them, I don't have to clean them. So ever since then, I've kept every figurine inside the box and never opened it. I mean, it's good. It's good, but when you think about it, it's good for resale value. But even though I'm never gonna sell these figurines because I really enjoy them, they're my favorite. They're like figurines of your waifu and shit, and I enjoy them. So I actually have no interest in ever selling them.
So game move you just
maybe
did.
If I ever get a wife and then she tells me to get rid of them, I probably still won't get rid of them. I'll probably just hide them.
No. Wait until we start getting we get like better jobs and we can actually afford those fancy fruit like glass shelves, that keep the dust out and shine onto your things.
Post online, I know what you mean.
I know, but I just don't have anywhere to put them in my room. I just put them on the shelves on my desk, or the shelves these weird IKEA shelves that I can't put them on anymore. But the thing is though, is that dust can fuck up a figurine, boys and girls, because now sure, dust having dust on your figurine for a couple weeks or a month won't do that much damage. But if you have it for if it keeps on attic for many months or almost 2 years, that dust can kind of fuck up the paint, be ingrained in there and fuck up the paint and get all grimy. And also, cigarette smoke can also fuck up can actually discolor figurines. If you have figurines that have a white paint on that and you smoke in your room, that can actually discolor one of your figurines. Because I remember I bought a used figurines, right, of Yukari Akiyama, that the main chick from Grossen Panzer, right? I have her, and she's sitting down saluting and all that, but her actual skirt is white, and the dude who sold it to me at a good price. He didn't mention the yellow stains, but it wasn't until like 3-4 months later I realized it, and I saw the stains on there, and I was like, well, fuck.
I mean, I don't think I can ever buy a used figurine. I mean,
yeah,
I guess
I learned my lesson.
Well, it's not even that. It's just it's not the fact that people don't take care of them. It's just the fact that like figurines are expensive because they're like a niche hobby. They're very niche. Not many people get it, and like every store that gets them, they're more like middlemen because they buy them straight from the manufacturer and then they just send it to the people when they come out. They don't really buy them in bulk and then just store them in their shop. I mean, maybe if it's like an anime shop, maybe they'll have one or two. I know price figurines, they'll have them everywhere in every shelf, but
don't say that. You just get you made me sick.
Yeah, but
don't say price figurines.
The real figurines like the 300, the
scaled
150 ones. Plus, dollar figurines. Yeah, no, they have to like pre-order them. You actually have to pre-order them, and then they just get them straight from the manufacturer and ship them to you. But the thing I don't like is like when you pre-order, you got to pay either full or half the price of it.
Yeah,
and
you get your place in line at least. Speaking of pre-ordering, I actually pre-ordered the Witch Elena figurine that's coming out this year. It comes out, I think, during the summertime, and it's the very first figurine of with the Witch Elena, like kind of like in her like default stance, like kind of she's on her broomstick and all that. And I got it because like I was weeping out when I watched the Witch Elena for the first time.
What was funny about that figurine when you sent me the link for it is that she looked like Elena. She was dressed as Elena.
That's not the first one. That's the second one.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The second one that you sent. Oh, you pre-ordered the first one. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Oh, because like I know you told me that you were more interested in the second one now.
Yes, I was in more.
Hey, you might as well just cancel the pre-order then.
No. I'm still getting the first. I'm still getting the first one. It's just that the second one I like it more because you know how whenever companies say for instance like your favorite waifu, right, in an anime, you're like, oh hell yes, I hope she gets an android or like a scaled figurine or some shit like that, right? But what I hate the most when they're like, hey, here's a figurine, a prize figurine, you're like, ugh, it's not a prize figurine. Boys and girls are like, their figurines are nice and all, but they're not scaled, they don't know how much detailed, and they're usually, the reason why they call it prize figurines because they usually get them out of the little crane machines in Japan and all that, and they're not, they're like the figurines. You don't want that. You don't want you want that high upper echelon type of figurines, the scaled figurines. Now, the second figurine of Elena is kind of like not her basic pose because every company that releases a waifu figurine, they always either release a prize figurine or when they do release a scaled figurine, it's kind of like your waifu or your character in the most basic pose ever. Like the most basic pose or just like pulled right out of the freaking like promo art.
Yeah, like, it's not even that. Like I know almost every figurine from Fate Grand Order, the mobile game, like when they release a figurine of whatever waifu is in it, it's always the figurine. Okay, you know gacha mechanics, they have the little JPEGs, like you drop money and then you spin the gacha system, right? I'm sorry, you use the gacha system and then you get whatever waifu you want, but it's like a little like a little illustration, it's like a little card and then it has the picture and everything with the pose. They just copy that and turn it into a figurine, and sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. But that's always the very first release. I know if they start making more figurines of that waifu, then it's like different poses, maybe like a swimsuit version and stuff. But for the most part, the first figurine that gets released from any waifu is always like the character artwork from the game and whatever pose they have.
So yeah, that was actually got the second one. The second one looks really nice because I think it's Elena whenever she.
Oh, so now we're talking about the second figurine because. For me,
yeah.
The second figurine, what was weird about it is I watched the anime, and then I looked at this figurine, and I'm like, okay, she's dressed like Elena, she looks like Elena, but it doesn't feel like she's Elena.
I mean, it is. It's just her light novel. It's Elena on her light novel cover. I think it's the second or third one, and it's basically her like with a hat, wearing like more like a winter coat or some shit like that, and she's eating like donuts or like some type of pastries.
Ah, okay. It's just like I only just watched the anime. Like with The Witch Elena, I just I only watched the anime. I mean, it has to be like an anime that I really really enjoy for me to like read the manga. And I'm not gonna lie, Witch Elena was pretty good, but it's just the light novel. No, I don't really get too much. I don't really get too deep into light novels.
I've only the only red light novel I read the most is The Melancholy Haruhi Suzumiya and the I think up to a few volumes of the light novel for Witch Elena, but then I kind of stopped because brain hurty, can't read, but I mean I'm joking, but like
I mean there's only one light novel that I actually fully read, and it was the Maoyu Maoyusha light novel. Unfortunately, I read it through a translation site, and the translations can be choppy because some chapters would be translated while others won't. Because the way the Maoyu Maoyusha light novel reads is kind of like an opera script. That's the thing I hate about that anime. Nobody has names. Everyone is just named based on their profession or wherever they found them in.
So it's almost like Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, it's almost like Goblin Slayer. Actually, it's exactly like Goblin Slayer. You got the priestess, the Goblin Slayer, the lizard guy, the
elf,
the high elf archer. I'm not too sure why she's one of the most drawn waifus in that show. I personally like the cowgirl. From the
I like the cowgirl.
Yeah.
Wait. What do you mean? Which one was the most like drawn waifu?
From what I've seen on Reddit, I keep seeing the high elf archer.
Yeah. See, I like Moo Milkers, so I'm more for a cowgirl.
Yeah, cowgirl.
And the what is it? The guild stewardess. All those two, in my opinion, are the waifus for Goblin Slayer.
And didn't you tell me you didn't really like the that little big busty witch, the one that looks like the one from Dragon's Crown, I believe?
No. Like I liked her design too. It's just that like you can obviously tell that like their influence was probably from that witch with that long cigarette holder.
Yeah,
and the one that talks
in one from Dragon's Crown.
I said that she was probably influenced by her, by the looks, by the one from Dragon's Crown. That's what it looked like, because that's the first thing I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I think that anime has a lot of influences from other shows. Like, I know there's a guy that looks like Guts in there. One of the adventurers that looks like Guts. He even carries like a long ass sword. But yeah, I mean, okay, so back to what I was talking about, because we just keep derailing each other. So Maoyu Maoyusha, that's the light novel that I read. Unfortunately, they stopped translating them, I think, after a certain chapter, which I was really sad because it was getting good. And unfortunately, Maoyu Maoyusha is one of those animes that won't ever get a second season, because it was just one of those things that they just threw out. I actually really enjoyed it. And it's surprising because I don't really enjoy anime that has like, okay, they have the characters and then in the background it's like oil paint based, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, like I tend to not like those, but this one was entertaining and I really liked it. And then I also kind of like dabbled. I didn't really finish reading it, but I also read a couple of chapters from High School DxD from the light novel. But it's like you said, after a while, it's just brain hurty, and I just couldn't.
Brain hurty is like Dude, I remember when I read a Harry Potter book back in the day. I read it all the way, but I was all like, my imagination was going wild, but I was all like, British wording, brain hurty.
Man, back in the day, back in high school, man, I used to read a lot of books. I think I read almost every Dan Brown book there is. You know, the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. I read Digital Fortress. I've read. God, there was another one that I read. I just forgot. The only one that I didn't read was years later they released a new one called, I think it was based off of Dante's Inferno, and I didn't read that one.
Oh no, you know what you did read though during high school, and that was like it was when it was at its peak. Were the Halo novels? They were.
Oh yes, the Halo novels were actually pretty good. My favorite one was the one that had all those short stories.
You talking about the one that had the short story Dirt?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the book, but it had a bunch of like individual, like every chapter was its own individual story, and if I remember correctly, that chapter in particular, Dirt, if you read it, it's actually like a prequel to Halo 3 ODST, because the rookie, the ODST rookie from Halo 3 ODST, is featured in that book. That's like his first appearance before they... And when I read this was before Halo 3 ODST came out, so that was actually a nice little Easter egg. I don't know if many people know about that or not.
I'm kind of disappointed in Halo 3 ODST because, like, if you actually, like, during that time, like, you know, I had cable, right? I mean, I still do have cable. I'm trying to get rid of it right now. But thing is, like, they bombarded the channels with, you know, Halo 3 ODST type of commercials, right? And I think you've seen it too, or you remember it. It's basically the entire commercial is realistic. They don't use like in-game footage. They kind of use, like, you know, real actors, and it shows like a rookie joining the ODST division, and then like you hear like a drill sergeant kind of, you know, yelling at them, and after every yell, they kind of like they cut the scene to something else. It's basically showing him progressing through his like ODST training until it finally gets to him, like, you know, deploying, right?
You're talking about the trailer. Yeah, that was actually a really good trailer. It sold me on the game. It hyped me up.
But then when you actually played the game, you're like, what is this?
I know. It was kind of like the Dead Island trailer. Like, it was just really good, and then the game was just really shit. But see, Halo 3 ODST wasn't really shit. It felt more like DLC for Halo 3, you know? I mean, sure it added like a story mode, but what I didn't like is that the multiplayer, I believe, was just the firefight mode, where it's just, you know, the endless horde mode, which I liked, but it felt lacking, you know?
I just didn't like how how they set it up for you in Halo Halo 3 ODST was, you know, you saw the trailer, and you know that beginning part shows you, like, oh God, we're going to drop down onto that ship, and we all have silenced weapons. This is gonna be amazing. But then, you know, spoilers, boys, if you haven't played Halo 3 ODST. I mean, at this point, you should have played it or spoiled yourself at this point. But
yeah, their real objective wasn't going to that ship, because
I know. Yeah. And then the worst part was, you drop down, some shit happens, your little like helipod, hits very hard inside of on the side of the building, and the rookie gets knocked out for like almost the entire day, and it's nighttime.
Like 9 hours. I think it was like 9 hours that he got knocked out.
Yeah, and like you're basically going around the entire Mombasa, right? Is it Mombasa?
Yeah, new Mombasa.
New Mombasa, and you're basically going around, basically finding pieces of your teammates' gear and having these flashbacks. And I'm all like, bruh. So you yourself is not, the rookie himself is not actually having that much action, other than, you know, kind of clearing the new Mombasa out of like the Covenant. But the thing is like, all your weapons are silenced, right? But like, what's the point of silenced weapons when, like, you know, unless you get that, like, you know, clean kill, they're gonna figure out, oh, you're shooting at me. You're like, what the hell is the point of these weapons, you know? And they replace the shields with your stamina.
I think it's just mostly for immersion, because these guys aren't Spartans, so they need to be like more stealthy. But I think it was just added as aesthetics, not really for it to be practical, you know. Like, now I do believe I kind of miss when Bungie owned the Halo franchise, because they did so many cool things with that. Not only were the light novels good, they also did, I don't know if you noticed, but they also made like comic strips based off that one book that we mentioned that had the individual stories. And I think my favorite one from that was the chapter called Midnight at the Heart of Midlothian. That one was actually a really good chapter. It was pretty much about this one guy, like, I don't know what happened. He was like in the medical bay getting like surgery, then he woke up, everyone in his ship is dead. And his, the ship is like flooded with Covenant, and they didn't activate the cold protocol. You know the cold protocol. You know what that is.
Yeah, I know the story now. I remember the story now. You were telling me about it like years ago, where like he was the only one on the ship, right? And there was Covenant on the ship. However, there was like important information on that ship.
Well, it's not important information. It's stuff. Okay, in the Halo universe, they have this thing called the cold protocol, which pretty much means any ship that's about to be captured needs to be like needs to self-destruct, because they don't want the Covenant accessing like the navigation maps and finding the location of Earth.
Yeah.
So the thing is, though, the Covenant somehow managed to board this ship, kill everyone before they even deleted all that. Now, luckily, they didn't know how to access that, but you know, they were bringing in some engineers, you know, the little flying tentacle monsters to try to like crack like all the encryptions and try to get it. So his job was to like the ship AI was like guiding him to try to get to the bridge, and it ended pretty
bittersweet.
Yeah, it ended very bittersweetly, but it was actually really good. Now, the thing that I liked is they grabbed some of the chapters from that book and turned them into like comic novels that they featured on their Halo portal, whatever. It was like an app. I forgot what they called it. It was like a little Halo portal where it's just like all Halo content, and I thought that was pretty cool. Now, my favorite thing that Bungie did that I wish they can do again, the Halo anime, Halo Legends.
Yes, I actually like that. All those stories in Halo animation were amazing, and basically it made you know how when you play the Halo games, right, and you're all like, you know, it's serious and the story might be serious, but you're like, you just really don't care for the characters. Like, you just straight up don't care for the characters. However, I felt more of an emotional bond with the characters in the Halo Legends rather than the actual the game themselves. Because like I remember there's Homecoming. Then there is the one with the which one was it?
I think my favorite one was the Be Human one. Yeah. Here's a fun Easter egg. At the end of that, that's the thing I liked about reading the books. They throw in these little Easter eggs at the end of that chapter, when you know the ship was evacuating all those people. They mentioned that they were gonna rendezvous with the Heart of Midlothian at the end, and I'm like, ooh. I think they're all dead by that point. I think that ship self-destructed by the time they sent that message. And I was like, oh, that was a nice tie-in. It was a nice little Easter egg. And that was actually my favorite one out of the bunch.
All I know is that I want the whoever, it could be the same people who write the games, but like or it could be different people, but I want the people who, you know, wrote the script, or like, you know, came up with the ideas for Halo Legends, right? And kind of like implement that type of grit, that type of like, you know, emotional storytelling into the actual games, because like the actual games for Halo are kind of like and the story.
Yeah, I think I like what you're talking about, but like I think they can only just implement the story, because they can't really implement the animators, because, well, not only is it because, you know, it's 2D animation instead of like 3D.
No, you know, I understand that. Also because, on the story,
but also because like in Halo Legends, every new story was like a new animator with new animations and new everything. You know, some episodes were 3D, some episodes were just full 2D. Some episodes were that oil-based painting thing that I told you about. I think it was the one with one of the arbiters. It was called The Duel, and it was all like oil paint animation. It was actually pretty nice.
All I remember is that like the last part of the film was called The Package, and everything was all 3D animated like. And I saw Dr. Halsey, but like they made Dr. Halsey not only super young looking, right, but also like kind of thick. And I'm all like, why did you make Dr. Halsey look like?
It's the Japanese.
No, like they made Dr.
You can't.
They made look. They made Dr. Halsey look like one of those like 3D models that you would see in like SFM porn, or those like weird 3D hentais you see online. I'm like, why did you make this? Because Dr. Halsey even sounded playful and young in that one. I was like, I don't like where this is going.
Besides, I don't really think that was the last one, The Package. I think the very last one was that weird Dragon Ball Z type.
You mean the odd one out?
Yeah, I think that was the very last one.
I remember
the
package.
It kind of felt like, I don't know. It might have been the creator of Dragon Ball Z that made that, because it just felt so Dragon Ball Z-ish, you know, with that one super powered brute going Super Saiyan, and then these two. I don't know what they were, but you know, they had like superpowers, and they were just like beating him up too.
Maybe you're thinking of it because it is so shonen-like that you think it's just DBZ. Because, you know, everyone thinks that if it's overly like shonen, you think it's DBZ.
Yeah, it had those vibes though, but yeah. I mean, I think that was the very last one, the odd one out. Man, I just miss Bungie, man. They just did a lot of cool shit with Halo. Now 343, do they?
I don't know, man. Because with Destiny, they kind of like had a rough start, and then like as it went on, Destiny was like hit or miss. Like for me, Destiny was hit or miss. I personally like 343 Studios. I liked Halo 4. Halo 5 was whack, but I like Halo 4. They tried things different.
Halo 4 was just very boring for me. Halo 5 was just so bad. Like, I did not like how they promoted that game. They promoted that game with Master Chief being a traitor, which left a lot of us scratching our heads. Like, at this point, I stopped reading the novels, because I know they still made novels, and I heard they were still pretty good, but it's just a lot of the games, in order for you to fully understand the story, you would have to also read the novels. And at this point, I stopped reading that many books. And I didn't know what was going on. I was just scratching my head, like, why is he targeted? You know, he's a fucking hero from the Human Covenant War. And then they sent Spartan Locke to send him, and I'm like, alright, who's Spartan Locke? I don't know who this guy is. Why would I care about him? And then they were promoting this game that it was like you're gonna be playing Spartan Locke, and your whole mission is just to hunt down Master Chief. And you know, it was promoted to have this big epic showdown, and it was just very.
They only boxed for like 30 seconds, and they were like, okay.
They only boxed for like a minute or two, and it was all a cutscene too. It wasn't even like gameplay.
And then after you boxed, you're like, okay, I forgive you now. There's actually a bigger fish to fry. You're like, what?
Yeah, it was just so bad. That's why I just hate 343. And then, you know, there's that whole controversy with Halo Infinite with the graphics and everything. And then I don't know if you also kept up with the news, but a bunch of their they've actually gone through a lot of like CEOs or creative directors. No, it was creative directors. I think that Halo Infinite game went through like a good 4 or 5 creative directors, maybe even more, I don't know. And that's actually a bad sign.
Back to Halo 5 though, it may be horrible gameplay wise, but lore wise it was kind of nice because at this point, it's easy for someone to become a Spartan at that point. You know, there is no life-threatening augmentation. I mean, there's still augmentations, but there's not life-threatening as it used to be in back in the Spartan 2 program, you know? There's no more need to kidnap little kids and clone them and heavily physically augment them and there's might be like a high chance of them dying. You know, there's none of that. There's none of that Witcher type of shit or like Spartan type of shit, right? It's kind of just anyone can volunteer because Spartan is Gucci, right? It's just that I found out that Locke's team was actually both Locke's team and Master Chief's team were nice.
I know, yeah, I know. One of Locke's team. I remember one of Locke's team had one of the characters from Halo 3 ODST.
Yeah, it was Buck.
It was Buck. Okay.
I remember one character. I can't remember which team it was. It was either Locke's team or Master Chief team. But one of the characters, right, was actually can speak like the elite's languages, like I think Sanghili, the elite's
female,
language.
Yeah, one of the female operators from the.
But that's the thing though. That's the thing though. Is that what I find that is kind of cool is that you gotta realize is that there are certain words or certain words or syllables you can't say as a human because you know how elites their mouths open up 4 ways. Human jaws can't do that. So the fact that she can speak the language in general is amazing. And then they have some. And then I think in one of the books, one of the short stories I read in the Halo novels, right? I think certain elites can speak the English language, but the thing is you know how their mouths can. Yeah, you know how their mouths can open 4 ways, right? Yeah. They would have to force their mouths to open 2 ways instead of 4 ways. But even if they do that and they can speak the human language, they have that little hole where their mouths are. So when they try to say certain words in English, they kind of spit because they don't have that part covering it up. Yeah.
Well, back to the collector's editions. Yeah, I guess Halo 5 Guardians would be a really nice one that I've had. One of the things that I really dislike is sometimes not really the makers of the game or the publishers. I actually don't really know who controls the marketing aspect, who controls what goes into collector's editions. But the ones that I hate the most is the ones that are just so lazy about it. They just throw art book, CD, CD soundtrack, and that's it. I actually dislike those. And maybe even maybe they'll throw in a little cheap trinket, a little token or something, and that's it. And I actually dislike those collector's editions. I feel like they don't try as much
like they used to, right?
Yeah,
I do agree because see, unless the soundtrack is a banger, freaking
Persona 4's.
No, Persona 4, Persona 5, Skyrim's soundtrack, Rune Oblivion soundtrack, 4. Rune Factory 4, Morrowind soundtrack, stuff like that. Unless it's or not even that. Not
yeah, I mean, and it's very difficult for to make a good one, because most people don't really like when they go into a game, like the sound, like the soundtrack, the music, the background music is like the last thing they care about.
It's kind of forgettable.
Yeah. Even though it adds to the immersion of the game, it's one of the very important things to do, but it's just one of the most overlooked ones.
Dude, see, CJ, I feel like if your game, right, has like a soundtrack where like, you know how they have those games where whenever you go to another part of the map, it has a particular like track that's like that's like associated with that part of the game, right?
Yeah.
The thing is though, like or like when you're shopping, right, it has a little tune, or when you're at your house, it has a little tune, right? Like just like certain soundtracks. Or it may not do that. It may just like loop over like over 10-20 songs when you're like exploring the world. The thing is, I feel like if you can like associate a game, like associate part of the game, or associate the game itself with just the soundtrack itself. Like you can like, oh, is this song? Oh, is this song? That means like, in my opinion, that soundtrack is a banger, because like you almost memorize every sound. I mean, like, sure, you can memorize every music or soundtrack of a game, right? But are you memorizing it because it's good, or do you realize it's because it's good? Or do you memorize it because, you just hear it all the time, That's the difference. If you're like, oh shit, I know, I'm at this part of the game. Ooh, it's gonna have a banger soundtrack right here. And you're like, yes, But if it doesn't, you're like, I feel like,
I take a more casual approach to the soundtracks, man. Like, for me, if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. And it's the same thing with, like, music for me. I don't have a specific band that I like. Like, my rule is, if I like more than 8 songs from this particular artist or group, then I'm, I guess, a fan of it. But I tend to only like, with most bands or like artists that I listen to, I tend to only really like one song from their whole library, Kind of like, okay, like for example, a good example would be the Eagles. I personally think most of their songs are trash, except to obviously Hotel California, one of them. That's a banger of a song. And I actually liked In the City, but I only liked that song because it was featured in the in that old school movie, The Warriors. I don't really know who made it, but man, that movie was pretty good. But it featured that song, and I was like, man, that's actually a really nice song. To put
See, my two favorite songs from the Eagles is, of course, Hotel California, but another one is called One of These Nights. It's actually really a smooth, chill song.
Yeah, so if you look through my music library, you'll just notice that it's just a mishmash of songs.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds. It's kind of rare whenever like you get an album and it's kind of like each song is like a banger.
Good. Like, I guess for me, the only group that I can considerably say that I like most of the songs in their albums are the Beatles and Rammstein. I don't know why. I just love Rammstein.
That German band?
Yeah. I just love Rammstein. Their songs are just so good, and I believe they recently came back. They created I think it was 2019 or 2020. They came back because like they kind of like went on hiatus. I don't know if they went on hiatus or they split, but they came back. They formed a group again, and man, they made this one song. It was they actually made 2. They made one called Radio, instant banger. I fucking loved it. And then they made another one called Auslander. I have no idea what the fuck they say in those songs. They're just that good.
See, for me, man, my bands that I feel like they have a bangers like nonstop is, there's Daft Punk, right? Then there is Franz Ferdinand. There's Franz Ferdinand, but then Franz Ferdinand started to like, I don't know what was, one person left the group, and then like then after that they're like, no, it didn't fall apart. It's just that like, but even before one person got out the group of like Franz Ferdinand for like personal reasons, it's just that like their music style changed, and like I wasn't like, that wasn't groovy for me. I couldn't get jiggy with it. And then another band I liked was not band. It's I think it's a person. DJ Blattman. It's just like hard boss. Every song is a banger. I was like, I like this.
Oh, I forgot. T for some reason is a weep for Russian stuff. I have no idea why. I don't really find Russian culture that interesting.
See, how it happened for me was this. I'll explain it to you because, like, I think Jay kind of knows, but I think he doesn't fully know the picture. But, like, you know, I was just, you know, during quarantine, you know, I had an office job, but, you know, no, before quarantine, I had an office job. I just got one of those, like, good jobs. Well, not the best jobs. Got a good paying job. I was in Cali at the time. And, yeah, it was, quarantine happened, so we had to work from home. And, you know, the lame part is, you know, people are like, oh, you're working from home, that should be great. That bad part is, like, because you're working from home, and I'm working at one of those international companies, they don't know what work and not work is. There's a blurred line between, like, you know, your work life and then your personal life. They kind of blurred the lines. They didn't care as much. But that's besides the point. Basically, you know, for the first few months, they were still getting situated to the work at home thing. So, you know, T had a lot of free time, and I was just all like, I'm kind of you know, I'm kind of pretty bored here. What do I do? Still working, but I'm pretty bored. And, you know, my sister was into Russian stuff, but, like, you know, I didn't think that much of it. And it wasn't until when I was playing, like, you know, surprisingly, Call of Duty, just calling Call of Duty, you know, Warzone in general. And then I'll start seeing all these Cyrillic, all these Cyrillic like letters everywhere, you know, the Russian letters everywhere. I was like, huh. I'm like, these are my friends think they're my friends think it's weird. Jay was over here, so like, they have threes in backward letters and numbers.
They have a 6 in their alphabet. They have a number 6 in their alphabet.
See, that's their version of that's a B. That's a B. Yeah. See the 6 is a B, is a capitalized is their B, and then the 3 is their Z, and then the little like circle with the slit through it is their F.
And not only that, but they also have like inverted letters. Like they'll have this R that's inverted. I think it's an R. There's like a capital R that's inverted.
Yeah. Sure. That's their That's their stuff. But like, thing is, like, T got really. The T was like, oh, I'm interested. Then I, like, you know, started listening to more, like, you know, some Russian. To discover more Russian music, and, you know, discovering more like Soviet era like snacks and all that. And T was all like, you know what? I'm gonna start trying to learn Russian, or at least try to read it, right? And oh my god, once you start like associating the words, the Cyrillics and all that, you're like, oh, this is. Like, you know, I'm not the best at sounding it out, but I can kind of read it. And some letters and some words are basically just like English words, but with a Russian accent. Like video is basically like B. It's a B. You spell it with the B, then backwards N V D. Then like the little like. Their version of the D, I can't. It's hard to explain. V D, then E, then O. You know, it's kind of it's funny. And then like
dude, you're hurting my brain right now just trying to.
Oh no, you don't understand. You don't understand. Like then I learned how to say hi. Saying hi, it was like so hard for me because like I like rolling R's not come like very great to me. But so, you know, everyone knows Privyet, right? Like, you know, saying hi, right?
No, I don't.
Okay. Privyet is basically like, you know, their version of like saying hi, right? It's like the most informal way of just saying hi, like in English, right? However, T learned that like Russian people are very like formal. So unless you know the person, you know, personally, you don't say Privyet to them. Unless, you know, unless you're a foreigner, they can kind of, yeah. But then like what they say, what they say too, and they even say this in Golden Kamuy, because when they went to Russia in Golden Kamuy, they started, you know,
they started throwing Russian words.
Oh, dude, like, I learned how to say, like, formal stuff. Like, I learned, like, through forms that, like, don't say Privyet. That's kind of like, unless you know them. Say, let me see, what's the word, what the fuck's that word? Здравствуйте. It's basically, yeah. Здравствуйте.
Okay, I really only know 2 Russian words, and it's from all the memes that I see from Call of Duty.
It's a suka blyat.
And blyat. And from DJ Blyat Man too. Suka, bleh.
No. You can also say this. You can say hoi. Hoi is basically like dick. But then also learn some slang. You can say, okay, if your day is going wrong, Jay, at work, you can say pohoi. Basically means fuck it. You're like, oh well, I dropped a 13-foot pipe down, and it just basically struck the ground. The safety man saw that.
Okay. So,
just go home.
So pretty much you were just bored, and you just decided to pick up Russian just for the lulz. That's pretty much like, that's the question I was trying to ask you. You kind of dragged it out for so long, but I mean, I guess it's a nice inside depth look into your mind. Nice in-depth look, my bad.
You know how Japanese, you know how people are like Japanese file. Is it files? It's like PHILE. It's like, you know how people are like. There's some people that are like obsessed with like Spanish cultures. You call them Spanish files. Some people are obsessed
like
with
French.
like, you know,
it's Francophiles and stuff like that.
Yeah, something like that. So like I became like a Russophile for a bit, and like, you know, I'm still a Russophile, and like I learned like, you know, even Russian food is like Russian food, or like stuff that came out, like the food that developed during the Soviet Union was actually nice. Like I even told you, man, like for instance, you know, like I told you, I want to try Russian ice cream, and you're like, why you want to try Russian ice cream? And like, you know, because, you know, back in the Soviet era days, you know, when they passed the bill where, like, you know, Russian ice cream, or like ice cream made in Soviet Union, could not have any like artificial preservatives, or like, you know, or anything. Everything has to be fresh, like fresh milk, everything fresh. So when you eat it, it's like okay, how this? You know the milk Lala?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how, okay, drink Lala and then drink Borden milk, right?
Yeah, you'll taste the difference.
That's how the people was describing on the forums tell me that's how it tastes like. Eating like,
dude, the only Russian food, or like food that comes from like the eastern part of Europe, that I'm genuinely interested in like only eating, because like they're not really known for their cuisine. It's that one dish that looks like a giant cheese Danish, and it came from Georgia. I had to look it up on my phone. They call it khachapuri. I don't know if I said it. Yeah, khachapuri. Yeah, it's like a little Jordan dish. It's like a little bread with cheese, and then they add like an egg. That's the only dish that I'm genuinely interested in. Like, I'm not really interested in Dr. Sausage or borscht.
I like Dr. Sausage. It's nice.
Yeah, but I'm just not. It just doesn't look appetizing. If anything, Dr. Sausage just looks like bologna. Yeah, but like worse. Like worse.
From what I know, Dr. Sausage was like very cheap, and it's like, it either has a like more fat or no fat. I'm not too sure which one is like which one it is, but like apparently it was really good, but then like they changed the formula like in the late 80s and 90s, and like it was never the same. People were like, Dr. Sausage doesn't taste the same. But like, however, I can recommend our review is this. Try like Russian, or try like the Eastern European sodas. Like for instance, like Tarhun. It's like this green liquid. It's like as green as the rivers of Chernobyl. And you're all like, what is it? And you pour it, and when you drink it, at first it smells.
Drink you made me like kind of want to try, and I tried it. So let me explain that, because I actually drank it, and I didn't know nothing about it. So it did look like the radioactive waters of Chernobyl. It was like green, like a bright green, like Mountain Dew green. And it was one of the weirdest things I've ever tried in my life, because when you open the bottle, like, it comes in a big bottle. Well, the one I found, I'm pretty sure there's smaller bottles, but it came in this big bottle. I opened
glass
it.
Bottle.
Yeah, it's a glass bottle. Yeah, it looks like plastic in pictures, but it's actually glass. It's like big too. And I popped it open, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm about to try this. I poured some ice, and then like I poured it on my cup. The strongest smell of licorice bombarded my nostrils. And I was like, oh man, I kind of don't want to try this anymore. This just smells like it's going to taste like pure medicine. And I was like, you know what? I can't judge it. I have to try it at least. I can't just discredit it and like throw it away. I mean, it wasn't that expensive, but I did have to drive all the way to the nearest big city because, you know, bullshit ass small town that we live in. And I poured myself I already said I poured it, but then I tried it, and I was very confused. It smelled like licorice, like that little medicinal licorice smell.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It tasted like Sprite, and I was so confused.
No, I think you were going for. It smelled like licorice, or smelled like Fabuloso, or like it smelled like freaking pine salt when you opened it.
It dead ass smelled like licorice to me, and I tried it, and my brain was just so confused. It tasted like Sprite. I was like, my god, this is so good, but it smells so bad.
Think of this, viewers. It smells and tastes like the forest in the bottle. But it's like, and the thing is like, it's very cheap. You can get like a big 1 liter like glass bottle for like, what is it, like $2, like $1.50.
Yeah. Well, let's move.
Also,
all right, let's because
wait, one more. Also, boys and girls, what if I told you that we Americans are stuck in 2020 while the Russians are stuck in 2077 because these guys are drinking bread.
Oh my fucking!
It's called kvass, and it's basically it's like basically black bread soda, and you're like, fuck is that? So I went over there, bought some kvass. I poured into the cup, and it looks like Guinness when you pour it. It's all black and all that, but with bubbles. And I'm like, what is this? I drink it, and I'm all like, it's very carbonated, and I'm all like, wow, it tastes like black bread, like in a condensed form. I don't know how to feel about this. Like, it is good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that it's an otherworldly feeling. Like you can't get this type of like taste in American sodas. Like and it is very cheap too. It comes in a little plastic bottle. It's big as hell, and it's only like $1.50, $2. And I'm like, wow, kvass is amazing.
He's been obsessed. He has been obsessed with that drink since he tried it. I think you bought it when you were back in Cali, and it's kind of hard to find out here. Cause
dude, yeah, I had to drive all the way to LA, and to like West Hollywood, like at the edge of like Santa Monica Boulevard, in this tiny part that is like Odysseus grocery store. Went there, very nice place, nice people. Went there, got some Russian tea, got a bunch of Russian soda, and got some Dr. Sausage, and then came home, and like, that was the only place I actually can get Russian soda, and I was all like, there was like, kvass, the black bread one.
I'm sure there's other places. It's probably just the one that's featured in Google.
Yeah.
It's like the top featured in Google because, the small mom and pop shops, they don't, especially like they're run by really old people. They just don't care about putting their businesses on Google, which is a shame because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hidden gems out there, and I'm glad there's people actually going out there and like reviewing these places. Like the little urban explorers they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but moving on, man. I mean, how did you feel about that new Pokemon Arceus trailer?
See, I haven't been keeping up with Pokemon, but just like, the waifus and all that, but since I don't have a Switch, and because of the pandemic, the Switch's prices kind of went up, and they started scalping it. Now they went back down, so you can kind of get a Switch now. But it's just that, like, I don't have a Switch right now, so I really want to play Pokemon like Sword and Shield, and play freaking Irish waifu, and then after Gloria. Gloria. The fucking memes were hilarious, and then
I thought she was like, I know when they introduced her, I thought it was like she was branded as Scottish by the community. Yeah,
it's kind of sad that they didn't voice the game though. I really thought that this is like their Pokemon company's big big debut on like a big console, like a major Pokemon game. But they're like, what? Let's not voice it. I'm like, why? You could at least like have voiced it. Nope, we're not gonna voice it at all. I'm like,
well,
what?
Fingers crossed for Pokemon Arceus, because I like how it looks like they're branding it as like Breath of the Wild looking, and I hope it plays the same. In fact, even
are you talking about the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remake, or are you talking about that other one that's kind of like?
There's 3 that they announced. There's the Diamond and Pearl remake. That's actually like, I don't know if you've seen like a lot of fan art, but there's a lot of people drawing like Chibi Dawn. And I think it's because on the trailer she just looks kind of retarded, like very derpy.
They're like who is this sassy child? Who is this lost child?
Yeah. And then there's Pokemon Legends Arceus, which everyone thought it was just Ainu Dawn. Ainu from the Ainu people from Golden Kamui, like the native tribe from Japan, like native, pretty much like Japan's version of Native Americans, like we have out here in the U.S. But I believe it's her ancestor. I'm not too sure. I think that's what everyone's speculating, that it's just one of Dawn's ancestors, because she looks exactly like her. It's a time before they had, so allegedly they're branding the game as a time before they even made Pokédexes. So people are still exploring the Sinnoh region, and it is your job to catalog Pokemon so you can make the very first Pokédex.
So how far back are we talking about here?
Okay, here's the scary part. They're using wooden Pokeballs. That's how far back we're talking about.
Wait, I'm confused. How does that work? What kind of technology?
I don't know. But remember, this is Pokemon. Yeah, this is Pokemon. You can't think too much into it.
No. I'm thinking it's like confused Unga Bunga noises. Like it's wooden Pokeballs, but like they can capture. Wait, what? Oh my god, it's got an aneurysm.
Just don't think too much into it.
Just roll with it.
This is the Pokemon franchise we're talking about. We still don't know how they get their meat, because they be eating steak and stuff. So I'm like, wait, so is this Pokemon or is this an actual cow? So they actually have animals that are not classified as Pokemon, or stuff like that. And then like when they eat fish, I'm like, damn, are they just kill? Okay, I think Magikarp is like a source of protein. Like I think they did confirm in the Pokemon show that they actually eat Magikarp, because and I believe, I'm not too sure about this, but I remember back in the day when I saw the Pokemon anime, somebody took off a can and it had a picture of a Farfetch in it, and it was like little cubes of meat, and I'm like, oh
god.
Oh, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. I could be just talking this out of my ass, but it's just.
What if? Can you imagine just watching like the anime, right? But they show the rawness of the real Pokemon world. And you see fucking Bidoof, you see like a fucking Bidoof, and you see another fucking like, what is it? I don't know, Tyranitar, and you see a Bidoof just bodying freaking Tyranitar.
I mean, they did make something super close to that. It was it was like the little Pokemon, like I don't know if they were one shots or it was just like a little mini series, but it was, I think when they were promoting the Mega Evolutions.
Yeah.
I remember one of them told their Pokemon use Bite, and this Pokemon literally went up to this other Pokemon and just bit him. And that other Pokemon was just screaming in pain, like, this man bit me. Kind of like Mike Tyson when he bit off Evander Holyfield's ear.
It was like, he bit me in my ear.
And you know how Evander Holyfield was like just around the ring going like, he bit my ear. I'm actually surprised, like, after he did that, they still continued to fight. I don't know how that's.
Didn't he do that twice?
Yes, he did it twice. He bit him twice. And it wasn't until the second time that they decided to disqualify Mike Tyson for biting him. I don't understand how it wasn't an instant disqualification from the first time. The first time he did it. It was just weird, but
we may be talking out of our ass here, because there may be some Pokemon lorists out there that know more than us. So
well, yeah,
maybe talking our ass here. We're just speculating at this point.
I will just do a disclaimer. The very last Pokemon game I've played was Pokemon Emerald. That was the very last one I played, and that was all because Jay was very poor back then, and that was the last game that I ever got to play. And
the last game I played was Omega Ruby, and I think Omega is either Omega Ruby, and I think
I'm kind of sad. The
Alola region one.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that they stopped making like the third game. You know how there's Pokemon Sapphire and then Pokemon Ruby, and then like a year or two later they'll make a Pokemon Emerald, which is like a combination of the two games. I guess they just I guess the Pokemon company just realized they'll make more money if they sell both games instead of like waiting for them to make one.
Yeah, that too, but Emerald, like if you played Ruby and Sapphire back in the day, right? Sure, they're different, but then like,
nice, dude. I played Emerald.
Yeah, Emerald actually had like not only just like they had Kyogre, they had like Groudon and Rayquaza, but in Emerald, it was like graphically slightly better. And, it didn't have all the Pokemon, because like there are some Pokemon you can only get in Sapphire, some Pokemon you can only get in Ruby, and some Pokemon you can only get in Emerald. So technically, sure, it's a third game and it looks like it has everything, but it doesn't have everything. So you still had to kind of trade. I remember back in the day, like I didn't have the little like Game Boy Link, so I couldn't trade with anyone. I remember when I bought Leaf Green for the first time. They had this wireless wireless adapter that you can use to trade with people. But no one else had Pokemon or the wireless adapter, and I was like, I have no one else to trade with, and I was like, that sucks, And yeah, I remember when to like get behind that, me and my friends would like play like Visual Boy Advance, the little little Nintendo emulators, and just kind of like play that and try to trade Pokemon through that. It was really fun.
I just remember the little devices that they sold on Walmart that fucking they were pretty much like cheat codes and stuff like that. You know, the action replay in the Game Shark.
Ah.
Yeah, the one that came pre-installed with a bunch of like cheat codes or like Pokemon and stuff. Like you could get a Charizard level 100 coming out of the box. Like just starting the game. Of course, it wouldn't listen to you for some reason. Like for some reason.
No, because you don't have your gym badges. You need the gym badges for them to listen to you.
Wait, so okay, because I was very confused. I'm like, why is this Charizard not listening to me? He'll just like ignore me or something, and then he'll just get
no, because like with each, because like you can't just level up your Pokemon. Like you can say for instance like this. You be like, I'm going to get my Charmander right and make it like fucking. Just stay in the starting area and basically South Park it. Just basically kill a bunch of boars or kill a bunch of like Caterpies and shit like that, right? And just level it up until like, you know, to the max level. You can do that. It might take a long ass time. You could do that. However, it's just that like once it reaches a certain level, certain levels, it will not listen to you because like you don't have the gym badges to prove that that hey, that you're a trainer. Like prove that, you know, for it to a badge of honor to say hey.
See, I didn't know that because I never had a friend back then that actually played Pokemon like I did. So. Anyways, hopefully Pokemon Legends Arceus would be a big upgrade. I mean, it is going to be a big upgrade from Emerald, so...
You think they're going to bring back the National Pokédex?
But I know some people... I'm actually not too sure about that. I would hold my breath on that.
Because they got rid of the National Pokédex in the Sword and Shield, which, like, it's a double-edged sword. When they got rid of it, you know, everyone was like, you know, outraged because of that, and I can see their outrage. Can imagine all those like previous Pokemon generations, and they're not even in this Pokédex. You can't even bring them into this game.
I mean, I think the excuse the Pokemon company made is that it would take forever for them to 3D animate every Pokemon, but then again, they're the ones that
it's Pokemon. Yeah, and then they also have Nintendo backing them too, so like, you know, there really isn't like that much of but the budget's not a problem. You know, it's just time and their choice if they want to do it or not. And you know, like, you know, then there's I can see why people are mad because of that. But also at the same time, you know, Pokemon, they're like, you know, this game's for kids. But I'm like, yes, it's for kids, but you know, other people that are not kids play this game too. Some of your older fans are like, they're like damn near in their 30s or 40s right now at this point, you know, or like, you know, late 20s, 30s, and all that, right? They're still playing Pokemon, and you know, but then I feel like, you know, the competitive Pokemon scene is kind of toxic. I mean, they kind of like drags the fun out of Pokemon a little bit.
I think with Pokemon, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are taking the Disney approach. Like, it has to be only for kids. Like, yeah, sure, our most loyal fans screw up, and they want more content for their age, you know, like not really more mature content because it makes it sound like I want them to make a porn game or something out of it, but they probably want like something at least T-rated instead of rated E for everybody, something more T-rated, not really M, but I guess people are they just want something that's not kid friendly, and that's actually the reason why I just didn't get back into Pokemon, because I could have gone back into Pokemon at any time. It's just, you know, it's for kids. Pokemon, like, I don't really want to say something like so controversial, but back in the day when, you know, Emerald and all that came out, when Diamond and Pearl came out, for me it had like the Call of Duty effect. It's just the same Pokemon game. It's like Emerald just with new Pokemon, different map, and that's it. Like, no new features. You know what I mean? Yeah, but like obviously right now, because of that big gap in technology and, you know, because it happened such a long time ago, I know they added like new features in Sword and Shield and stuff. Like, what kind of threw me off was those Mega Evolutions that they did. They used them once, and I don't think they've ever used them again, because the new Pokemon games, from my understanding, they don't have Mega Evolutions for some reason, which is a shame because I really like Charizard X. I thought that was like the coolest shit.
See, can you imagine, man? Like, for me, man, the only problem I see is that, like, I don't want the older generation bullying the newer generations of Pokemon players because they didn't get what they want. You know, they're like, can you imagine like a 30-year-old dude, you know, screaming at a little 8-year-old, "You fucked over my Charmander!" And like, oh, what did I do? And the fucking little Timmy over here is crying, doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and get body, bitch! Just like freaking body slam the kid.
I think when it comes to like competitiveness, like when you start going into like the esport side of things, of course, it's more toxic, but that's because people are more serious about it. And that's the reason why I could never get into esports. Because, I mean, I love video games. It's just, I love playing video games as a hobby, to have fun. When you start playing them competitively, you're playing serious, you know? It's not fun
You're
games.
sweaty.
Yeah, and I just, that's the reason why esports just aren't for me. And I mean, because it's a serious thing, people take it seriously, and of course there's going to be a lot of salt thrown around. Anyways, I guess that should be it for episode 5, I believe.
And you know, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was kind of random, a little random this time. We didn't have that much of a draft going on because you know we're both kind of tired, but you know we want to give you something to listen to.
Yeah,
you know?
we normally like to think of like 3 topics to talk about, but it's just because I started a new job. I unfortunately am just so exhausted. I literally forgot today we were supposed to record, and I had to tell T I didn't think of anything to talk about.
No, don't worry. Usually we come up with ideas together, but like it was Jay's turn. But yeah, it's all good.
But who knows, man? This episode could be a banger. I mean, I felt like it was good.
It might be a banger. It might not. It could go both ways. It can go either way. Yuck. Anyways, though, I'm T.
And I'm Jay, and we're signing off.